All right, cool. We're watching this new gameplay from VG 24/7 or yeah, 24/7, I guess, .com, who actually have a preview. Before we do that, though, just a quick explanation. So, some previews have come out for the Crown Tundra. A few new details have also been given. It's due to release tomorrow, of course, depending on your time zone. We're currently compiling all the details, so be sure to keep checking back. But it's confirmed that, like the Isle of Armor, you can have Pokemon following you. And also, some of the people that have participated, in actually trying this have said that you can only participate in the Galar Star tournament if you have completed the story for the main Sword and Shield game. The Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra with Dynamax Adventures, you can leave with either the legendary Pokemon or the current Pokemon you have. So, to do this Galar Star tournament, you gotta finish the whole game. To do, to leave with, whenever you do the Dynamax raids or Dynamax Wild Adventures, to get the legendary, you need to basically catch it, or you can leave with the Pokemon that you rented. So that's good information. Now let's take the time to look at this. Okay, let's take a look at the footage. Which, by the way, also a big thank you to Flinch for subscribing. All right, let's look at the footage.
Hey there, everybody. It's Alex here from VG247.com, and as you can see, I'm here with a little bit of the new
Oh yeah, if you guys want to watch this on your own, it's going to be a link down below to this VG video.
Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC, the second part of the expansion pack, and that is the Crown Tundra. Of course, we had the Isle of Armor back in June, and now we've got this coming out later this month. And I got a chance to see a little over half an hour of it in action. Obviously, I couldn't play it because I can't go to Pokemon's office at the minute because they're locked down, but I could at least see it, and I thought I would report back on what I learned. Now, I haven't got very much footage, so I'm really going to rush through this. There's a lot of the obvious stuff is back, so obviously there's even more Pokemon that didn't make the cut in the original game have returned. There's some new Pokemon, and there's some new moves and stuff like that. There's also obviously the area of the Crown Tundra itself, which is another 3D open world area just like the Isle of Armor and the wild area in the main game. And it isn't all snowy, there's plenty of greenery and open water and stuff like that too. So there's a good variety, even though the Isle of Armor is based on cold Scotland. Obviously, Sword and Shield are based on the UK, and yeah, so the Crown Tundra is basically based on Scotland. Now, there are essentially 4 main pieces of new content I wanted to point out as part of this video, so I'm going to do that. The first of those is the main story quest of the Crown Tundra, which is basically, it's chasing a huge-headed Pokemon, which, if you've been following the promotional stuff, is the all-new legendary Pokemon Calyrex.
Alright.
Calyrex is a psychic and grass type, and it's its category on the official website is a king Pokemon, and it seems like it might have actually at one point actually ruled Galar, and it's got a sort of royal attitude. It's got an expression where it always seems like it's looking down on you as inferior, which is pretty funny. And yeah, you don't learn too much about it early on, which is the stuff that we saw, but obviously this is going to go places as a story.
New area.
The main story, from what I saw of it, I didn't see very much because they didn't want to show very much because of spoilers, but it seems like it's going to be a solid introduction to the characters and the towns that populate the Crown Tundra. And obviously you're going to be chasing Calyrex, and I assume eventually you're going to be, well, of course, eventually you're going to be catching it and able to make it part of your team, which is cool. The second part is something that, if you're a fan of the earlier generations of Pokemon, is particularly exciting, and that is the legendary tree of a legendary tree, which is basically the legendary birds, the trio of birds from the original Pokemon games. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are back, but they are back in new forms, so they're back in Galarian forms. So these are legendary Pokemon with region-exclusive forms, which is awesome. And basically they hang out around this red tree in the Crown Tundra, and it seems like when you first go up to that tree, what I saw is that the 3 are introduced in a flashy cutscene where they battle each other, and then after this they scatter. Veteran Pokemon fans might remember the legendary dogs in Pokemon Gold and Silver, and how once you've sort of awoken them, they scatter across the map, and you then have to track them down and find them. And this seems like it's going to be a pretty similar situation where you'll be able to, try and find out where they've gone to, and then when you do, you'll be able to go and catch them. So again, that's a pretty cool throwback too. The next feature I want to talk about is Pokemon Dens in a little mode called Dynamax Adventures. And this is basically, essentially, some of the most in-depth pieces of endgame content you're going to find in Sword and Shield. And they basically offer you the chance to catch powerful legendary Pokemon that haven't been seen in the Galar region yet, although you can only catch each legendary once, so you can't endlessly farm them. That's sort of similar rules to the wormholes in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. Now, the exact rules and parameters of these raids are pretty in-depth, so we've put together a separate guide on that over on VG247.com. So hit up the website, I'll pop a link in the description, you can read all about how these work. But the basic thing is that these are 4-player raid scenarios, where you and 3 other players work your way through a series of Dynamax battles with only 1 Pokemon each. Now, your HP and your status effects carry over from one battle to the next, so it's really important to strategize and plan. The twist is that you're not just fighting with your own Pokemon. At the start of one of these lairs, these max lairs, these Pokemon dens, you choose from one of a set of randomly generated Pokemon. And then each time you defeat a Pokemon in a Dynamax battle, before you move on to the next battle, you can choose to swap your existing, probably injured Pokemon for the one you just defeated, which you'll get with full health. So basically, it's this idea of trading up as you go through this series of battles on your way to a legendary at the end of the lair. However, only one person on the team can swap, so you've got to work with your teammates and figure out who's going to take the swap this time. It seems really strategic, seems really interesting. You've got branching paths, like I say, in the lair, so you'll be choosing what Pokemon you're going to fight next, and you can see the Pokemon type, and you can also see a silhouette. So if you know your Pokemon well, you'll be able to identify what you're about to fight. And ultimately, at the end, you get to keep one of the Pokemon. So this could be one of the ones you fought with, or it could be the legendary that you fight and have an opportunity to catch at the end. Obviously, there's a lot of legendaries to catch, so there's a lot of scope in this mode. There's a lot of things that you can do. And it seems like a really fun way to really force you to think about how you battle with the fact that health and stuff carries over. I can see people spending a hell of a lot of time in this mode.
This actually looks pretty fun, to be honest.
And last but not least is the Galarian Star Tournament, and this basically feels a little bit like anime coming over to the games a bit more, I guess.
Should be working now, I think.
The Pokemon video games have taken inspiration from anime for ages. I mean, they made Yellow, which is just all based around the anime, right? And then Let's Go, obviously.
And not a lot happened. Not a lot happened. Don't worry. I think when they started freezing,
is basically an expansion of the idea they had.
I think when they started freezing,
to move Pokemon Sword and Shield gym battles into stadiums with fans watching, which always felt like it was intended to give the gym battles some of that energy they have in the anime. And basically, the Galarian Star Tournament is a 2-on-2 Pokemon battle tournament, but the twist is that you are able to pair off with any of the famous characters you've encountered throughout Sword and Shield and the expansions and play alongside them against other characters like that. So basically, you pick a partner and you pair off, and then you engage in a knockout tournament, and throughout that knockout tournament, you'll have people paired off, so you'll have, gym leaders who don't necessarily interact in the core game together as a team, and then have dialogue and banter, and will say things back and forth to each other, and that's really cool. It's sort of a little bit of fan service to what's happening. Depending on who you're teamed up with and who you encounter, you'll hear different dialogue and get a deeper insight into these characters. But on top of that, this is described to me by the guys at Pokemon as the hardest challenge in the game. These are super high-end, end-game battles. You actually need to have completed both DLC chapters and you need to be champion before you can even tackle this. So it's just a place for you to really get stuck in to some really, really difficult battles. And yeah, that is the content that I wanted to point out to you all from the Crown Tundra, the new DLC. Obviously, it comes as a package with the Isle of Armor, which is also pretty decent for my money. And they're also now going to be releasing it as a single pack. So you can actually go to the store on November the 6th, buy a package bundle version, which is the main game and the DLC. Otherwise, if you're getting it as DLC, this is out October the 23rd. And yeah, basically, it is a really, really cool addition. Again, it feels like I had my problems with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I felt like they fell flat in a few places, but it feels like they've really addressed some of those complaints in the DLC, and I'm really, really happy with that. And especially that package bundle version, that feels like great value in particular now, and it feels like a far better value than if they'd done a third version of these games, as they typically have done. Obviously, we'll be back with more of this once the DLC actually launches, so keep it locked in here and on VG247.com. Don't forget to give us a like, give us a subscribe, all that stuff. It really, really helps us out. But that's it from me for now. Until next time, everyone, see ya.
Alright, gotta drop a like on this because we just watched the whole thing. But alright, so a little bit of a breakdown real quick, right? So we got some new areas in here we can see. We can also see Galarian Galarian Slowking running after him. What I'll probably do is I'll probably have to edit this part in where he's talking and stuff into the video a little bit better, because I'm also recording this and streaming at the same time. But we get to see, Nidoking just chilling. They're in a kind of grassy area, and he does mention that it's, there is a little bit more of like a grassy type of feel to like some parts of the Crown Tundra. It's not just all ice and stuff, because, it is based on Scotland, so it's going to be a little bit more cold in its design, of course, because I think that's kind of what they want to go for. But you can see right here, it's kind of like a watery area. There's a bunch of rain going on. I think we've seen a little bit of this before. This looks like a whale mirror in the water. But yeah, I think we've seen this a little bit before in the past. I think it was mentioned. He also says here that basically the story that he got to see was the 2 first parts. Your whole journey is going to be about basically running after and trying to get Calyrex, who basically looks down upon you because he's basically the king of Galar. And if you've seen the recent leaks, you'll know why, because like, he's got like literally 2 Pokemon he can mount and fuse with. They can ride on top. So yeah, he's basically the king of Pokemon in Galar. And here we get to see another new area. It's kind of similar to some of the places we've had with like kind of like almost not really like a cave, but more like a tunnely type of deal going on. Right here, you can see another character popping in, so multiplayer is still working fine, at least as far as I can see. Doesn't seem to be having any issues. He runs through here, just kind of, again, showing off more areas. A lot of snow, I will say. Then he talks about the second part of the actual story, which to me looks arrogant. Yes, he's arrogant. Thank you, Swiss. Calyrex is arrogant. But what you see right here, though, is the cutscene, that full cutscene, by the way, for the Galarian birds, the Galarian bird legendaries that get scared away by none else than Rotomdex. Now, what he does mention here is that these guys, once they scatter, they'll actually be roaming around the Crown Tundra, and you'll be able to go and find them and catch them. So yes, these are roaming legendaries like they were back in Gen 2 and that sort of stuff, except you'll see them in the actual world. So they will be visible in the actual world itself. So yeah, it's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting. Then he talks about the actual Dynamax battles, which to me is interesting. So you can actually switch out. One person in the team out of the 4 people can actually switch out their Pokemon once you get through a few of these. So we'll definitely be doing this together. I'll be doing this on stream, playing with you guys, doing these sort of like, max raid dens and all that sort of stuff. Or I guess like Dynamax co-op dens, adventure dens, whatever you want to really call them. I don't even know the exact name. You guys will probably correct me about it. But yeah, so you got split paths you can take, and also at the end you'll find the legendary, which depending on which one you go through, it'll all depend on what you choose. But he does mention it seems to be a lot of replayability in this. And then finally you got the Galar Star Tournament, which, as he mentioned, if you want to get to the Galar Star Tournament, you have to finish the full story of both the DLCs and the base game. So base game and then both DLC stories had to be fully finished before you can actually access the Galar Star Tournament. It doesn't let you go in here otherwise. Like, it won't let you actually, get access to it and do stuff there. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's anything we've missed. We'll check here really quick on Cerebi if anything new has been updated. They say with Dynamax Adventures, you can leave with either the legendary Pokemon, the current Pokemon you have. Well, only one player can take a Pokemon. However, the ability patch, Armorite, bottle caps, etc. are rewards for Dynamax Adventures. That's cool. The legendary birds' Galarian forms will be scattered across the region, and you have to find them, which we know about that as well. So yeah, I mean, I think there's really much else to say. We've pretty much gone through most of this stuff. You also have following Pokemon. They're back. They're not gone. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It seems like there's a lot of content in this game, because they've said it's about 4 hours of the actual story. So yeah, you get to chase the huge-headed Pokemon, the main story quest, Legendary Tree of Legendary 3, and then they didn't really get to play the other 2 chapters, because there are 2 more chapters, as we know from the leaks. Toppling Pokemon dens in Dynamax Adventures get more legendary Pokemon. So yeah, you guys can go read through all this if you want to on, VG 24/7 if you guys want more, just more information. So we'll link all that down below. Anybody watch this in video format, thank you for watching. Make sure to drop a like down below, and we'll have a few more videos about this coming out later today.